Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Kuntres, Maayan. We started by giving tzedakah. Gedol tzedakah shebak kravis agula. And everyone needs refuah shlema, refuah shlema. And of course, we're going to have in mind Maayan bat Rochel. It's Hashem, she should be good, healthy, safe, and all the soldiers and all the yidden Eretz Yisroel. Okay, we're up to Parak base of Maayan Merchav base. Now we're going to sort of switch gears a little bit, well, not fully, but basically we're going to discuss the other opinion. Until now, we've sort of been saying that in Atzilus, there's no connection between Atzilus and Asiya in our physical world, and the two separate things. They don't come together in any way, and that's why you have a judgment every day, really. And now we're going to discuss what about if we look at Atzilus, and what about if what we have here is connected with Atzilus directly, that it actually has a physical impact. Parak base. It's page 313 in the green one. All this that we said before, we're judged every day, and really what we've been saying, those two opinions of how we're judged. What does it mean that we're judged every day? Because according to both opinions of the rabbis and according to Rabbi Yosi, that we're judged what does it mean judged every day? It was what is already set. Is it going to actually come out according to the Rabbanon? Or according to Rabbi Yosi, that it's not set and you're davening to get it to come. So that's all according to the fact that Atzilus is too far removed from from the physical manifestation of it. But what about the opinion? And even more so, the gasha is going to come out of it. Atzilus and our world is physical and spiritual. It's two opposites. Even in the spiritual world of Asiya, we're in the world of Asiya. But generally, when we say Asiya, we're talking about the physical. That's like the physical world, whereas the worlds above it are spiritual. But there's also a spiritual Asiya. So that's why we're the lowest of the low. Because we're even in the world of Asiya, we're in the physical world of Asiya, not even the spiritual. But he's saying even though the spiritual world of Asiya, there's no physicality. Even more so, the worlds are above it. Until Atzilus, that no connection. Asher Malchus to Atzilus, because even Malchus of Atzilus, which is sort of the lowest level in Atzilus, as it is in Atzilus, him is spheres Atzmius. Atzilus is from the essential spheres of Atzilus. The Ein Sof, there's infinite end, there's no end to their coming out. Hine gam hachesed Asiya, hakalu b'chesed Atzilus, even the chesed of Asiya, that's within the chesed of Atzilus. Because like we said before, it all comes from there. But nevertheless, there's still no form of it. It's chesed, and it's chesed that should come, but there's no real way that chesed. It's like having wood. There's so many things you can do with the wood. At that point, it's still just wood. And the judgment is what form it will take. It will take on. This, in the example here, chesed, tiferes, gevura, all those things. You have the wood, and what are we going to do with this wood? There's so many options of what can be done. That's the decision, and that's sort of what we're saying here. That's according to what we said till now. Lefi shetas d'sheresh chesed asiya. Hakol malchus atzilus hine bechesed ze kvar yesh bo hitztayrus hashbois shenimshechu v'nizhavu m'sheresh chesed asiya hakol malchus atzilus. But what about the opinion that says that already in the chesed of Atzilus, it's already formed exactly the way it is? Meaning the wood that you have is already defined exactly what we're going to use this wood for. What about that, according to that opinion? Therefore, It's not a novelty when it's coming into Asiya, Ruchnius. V'lama yiyeh al zeh din gomer. Ma'achar shekar nimshach v'nechtam ha'adin t'v'Rosh Hashanah v'Yom. And according to that opinion, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, it's already set what's going to be in this physical world. In this world, it's already defined. That piece of wood that's coming, it's not like we have a stockpile of wood and we're not sure what to do with it. We have the wood, and that wood is defined what we're going to use it for. We're going to make tables. So then, if that's the case, and then the wood that's coming, already know what it's there for. So then, what's the judgment every day? So he says, in order to understand this, we have to understand the Merkava, we have to understand how we're made up a little bit. So we're going to sort of put that question to the side. So the question is, again, according to the opinion that on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, what is set, that it's all going to be the way it is, like all the way down here, and it's already defined. So therefore, what is the daily judgment going on exactly? So that's the question. Now, the idea is like this. Every single creation, every being, everything has a body and a soul. The body is the physical, and the soul is ruchni, the spiritual. Everything is made up of physical and spiritual. And they're very different in the way they're formed. The soul comes from a way of ishtashlus. It's a descent. Like the animals, the soul of an animal, so an animal down below, it's sourced in the animal in the Merkava, in the chariot of Yechezkel's vision. There's up above, there's this chariot, and it has 4 creatures. And there's birds, there's wild animals, there's tame animals, and there's a human. And that's where they're all sourced. So animals are sourced. If it's a bird, it's sourced from that supernal bird. If it's a wild animal, it's from the wild animal on this chariot. And if it's a tame animal, yeah. And the wild animals come from the area, from the lion that's on this Merkava. And the souls of birds, the nefesh of birds, it's from the eagle that's over there. The nefesh adam, and also the soul of a person, from the person of the Merkava. Yeah, so those vision. Yeah, we'll read it actually. Let's read a little bit. It has in the footnote. This is what he says, Yechezkel's vision. He says, I saw there was a storm wind coming from the north, a great cloud and a blazing fire. And from its midst, like the pure luminescence from the midst of fire, and from its midst, I saw the image of 4 chayos, angelic creatures. This is what he's visioning. And the image of the faces were the face of a man, one, and that's where we come from, the face of a lion, which is where wild animals come from, on its right, and the face of an ox, which is more of a tame animal, on the left, and the face of an eagle, which is where all the birds come from. And the complexion of the chayos, their appearance was like fiery coals, and they look like fiery coals. You know, when you look at coals that are fiery, they're very like bright, very like intense looking. The chayos ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. As I observed the chayos, I saw one of the angelic beings on the floor of the firmament, at the side of each of the chayos. The appearance of the Efanim and their works and different angels was like Christ light. I don't know. When the chayos moved, the Efanim moved beside them, and the angels were moving together. And when the chayos raised themselves from the ground, the Efanim raised themselves above the firmament, which is over their heads. Was the likeness of a throne, an appearance like the sapphire, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness with the appearance of a man, as it were upon it above. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And above it, those sort of on the chair of the chariot was an appearance of a man, but this was the Eibishter. This was the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And this is what he saw. And so this is representative of the source of where we come from, or where our neshamas come from. Yeah, we are doing, and it's known that the chayos, therefore, That the four chariots, the four beings in this chariot is in every world. And this chariot idea is in every world. And that's what we're all sourced. Our souls go through this process. From ruchnius to ruchnius, it goes down, descends, but all in spiritual terms. The gam and nefasha shalamata him ruchnius, and even when it comes down lower, it's still all in levels of spirituality. So that's the sort of the soul aspect. But then we said we all made up from a body and a soul. That was the soul aspect. What about the body? Like animals, and all different levels of creation, all physical things. It can't be in a way of ishtashlus of a cause and effect. Cause and effect means there's from one comes to the other. If you have one, you can have a million. It could be very distant from each other, but a million ones, you get to a million. Spirituality ends off still in spirituality. It never goes from spirituality in a normal progression, and then it ends off in physicality. The two separate wavelengths. You can't go from like AM to FM on the radio. It doesn't like just jump over. That's what we're saying. So ultimately, all this we're talking about all stays in spiritual terms. But how do we have a physical world? And this is sort of, it's funny because we live in the physical world, and it could be very hard for us to understand this. But in the terms of like reality outside of our physical space, for us to create, to exist as a feeling of physicality and separate beings from God is like the most novel idea. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what he's saying. Even if you had many descents, many chain-like descents, meaning diminishing of the light and diminishing. So the feeling of separateness would come and exist. Nevertheless, it's not like Gashmius is a very condensed form of spirituality, of Ruchnius. Gashmius and Ruchnius are distinct. And you'll never get from all these descents, because remember, we start off with God himself, and then there's the tzimtzum, and then there's many tzimtzumim, and then it comes the tzimtzum of you have Atzilus, and Atzilus is the parasah, and then you have the low three worlds, and all these, and there's infinite amount of tzimtzum that are happening. And if you had millions more, you're never going to get to physicality. Say, how do you get to physicality? How do you get to this feeling that we feel that we're here, we exist, and we're physical, and we don't have that feeling of spirituality? How does it work? Everything would have been still spiritual. This is the yesh ma'ayin, something from nothing. The only way you can have physicality is you have is a new form of creation that has to be made. It can't automatically just come. It has to be created, something from nothing. And just like this idea that we've said, that we have a soul and we have a physical body, and that's with everything. And the soul comes from this hishtalshlus, ilav alul, coming down from a descent, but in a chain-like way, that it has a connection for what was above it, by guf, whereas the body, hu b'derech b'yesh ma'ayin, is being created, something that we feel ourselves as something coming from nothing, meaning we don't see ourselves. So to above it's like this. And also the angels have this sort of body and soul, even though their bodies are not physical, but they also have this idea. Rambam writes, the ruches mashasav eish lehat hainu gufos malachim shehem misoida eish ruach. So the angels' body come from the fire and the wind. So nimtza yesh behem guf nefesh. So they also have like a body and a soul, but it's different. It's not yesh Maayan. It's just coming from Seder Shtashlus Ilav. We'll have to stop here, and tomorrow we'll continue on. And ultimately, we have to answer the rest, just to remind us where we're going. We have to answer the question: how does it work according to the opinion that everything is set on Rosh Hashanah Kippur, even the way it's going to be done here? Like we use the mashal of the wood. According to the first opinion, there's wood, but what's going to be done with the wood? We don't know. And we know you're set. You've, so to speak, bought 1,000 pieces of wood. Now the question is, when is it going to come to you? What day of the week? And how much of it? And what you can do with it? That's still up for decision. That's the first way of understanding the chesed that's given to us throughout the year. The second way we're talking about it, what happens if it's already set? That wood that you daven for on Rosh Hashanah Kippur is set. How much wood? Where's it going to go? What are you made with it? And what day of the week? So according to that, what are we davening every day? For that, we need to join tomorrow. Have a great day.